What if I told you that there was a parenting method that flips everything that you thought you knew about parenting upside down on its head and solves the problem that we see so much, which is rebellious teenagers and parents who are being super strict but are totally lost and in this power struggle that they don't want to be in?
My name is Tero,
I'm Cora.
and I'm from Finland,
I'm from California.
and we have 3 kids.
From Texas.
Yes, and they are 5, 3, and 2. And they've spent the last few years in Montessori education, and currently we're exploring different alternative education methods. But just anecdotally saying, I've noticed that our generation tends to be more of gentle parent generation, or if not fully, even the ones who say they don't want the gentle parenting and they're into the other ones, I feel like they're still very soft on their children when they're young.
Yeah, I think they're really soft, but I think it's more permissive parenting. And I think they're like, which I was as well, really cautious to not do it wrong and not be too strict like their parents were, and try to like let the child lead and flow with them and follow them and let them have a say so and call the shots and giving them a lot of authority and control. And I think that creates a really anxious child. And there's a lot of books that say that if kids don't have boundaries or clear roles and they feel like they have a ton of power, it gives them way more anxiety than if you had just had like clear, consistent boundaries. And I think a lot of parents are really doing that, like really loose parenting style at the beginning. And then they create these kids that have like pretty wild attitudes and get away with a ton, and then they have to course correct and be way more strict because suddenly they have these terrible twos or terrible threes, or there's even a term for fours. It's like it just keeps extending to a kid that has way too much power, and they have to like course correct and get really strict.
Yeah, and I've heard like people like Jordan Peterson talk about the fact that if you don't course correct young children early on, it will just like they're going to keep pushing for those boundaries later. We've talked on the channel before about raising lions, and the concept there is that it's totally normal for the child to rebel early on, but if you don't address it, they never learn to, I don't know if soothing is the right word, but
like be okay with authority, right?
Yep.
And even Jordan Peterson's was about psychopaths, remember? His was like pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like a 3-year-old is a psychopath, and if you don't like steer them the right way, that behavior just continues, and then they become total narcissists, which is also not great. And then the other theory in Raising Lions, I think, was that by the time your kid is big and is a teenager, you can't control them with force or demands. Like they can just grab the car and take off. And so if your way to control your child is just based on like a power struggle, it's really not going to work.
Yeah. This video is a lot about how strict you are and how that's upside down. But the same concept applies, I think, to almost any form of parenting, is that what is age appropriate? And our kids went to Montessori. We're big fans of Maria Montessori. And she believed that education needs to be age appropriate in these 3-year blocks. So you don't want to say it's like, hey, sharing or apologize or whatever if it's not age appropriate at that point, or force them to start learning languages too early or reading, writing too early. Is like it's age appropriate for that moment. And I think a lot of parents forget that, at least consciously they forget that.
Yeah, you just start thinking in your bubble of like, this can't go on forever, but you don't realize that kids mature and grow.
Yeah.
But why don't you talk about the 3 stages?
Yes. So in this case, very Maria Montessori similar is there's 3 unique phases in child's life, and they tie into physiological development as well. And they're from 0 to 6, 6 to 12, and then the teenage is the 12 to 18. Obviously, these are rough numbers. I'm sure there's like individual variety between them, but just as a thought is like you should adjust your parenting method when you are in the 0 to 6 versus 6 to 12 phase based on their needs. And there is a person who wrote this thing that I originally found on social media of all the places, Kim John Payne parenting method, that I've loved, and I'm not deeply knowledgeable about their work, but it just makes a lot of sense for me when I hear it. And it is about governing, gardening, and guiding. And how, as a parent, what's your role in relation to the child? And 0 to 6, you are the governor, and 6 to 12, you're the gardener. And then on 12 to 18, you're a guide. So that's the concept. And most parents have it the upside down, where they are loosest from a strictness point of view when the child is small. And if they do something wrong, they're like, oh, it's just a child. He's like a 3-year-old. He doesn't get it. And then they course correct later. And then they're the strictest at the end. And at least I believe at this moment, I haven't had a teenager, is that it probably is better that as a teenager, you are not ultra strict, and as long as they're not hurting themselves and others, but like more of you're a guide to them, especially in today's world of AI and technology.
So let's start with govern. What does that look like? 0 to 6.
Yeah. Govern to me means that you are a dictator, or the parents are the dictators. And I mean,
authoritarian.
Authoritarian.
Not dictators.
Yeah. But your main goal is that they don't die, obviously, but you are very, very strict. And at that age, and this is from these thought leaders, is that kids seek boundaries, and it's normal, and they push until they hit a boundary. If they don't hit a boundary, they'll keep pushing until the boundary is found. So at some point, you have to establish rules. And if they don't know what the rules are, it's not obviously their fault. Like, you shouldn't punish if they do something wrong if they've never been told that it is wrong. But if you've told them they're wrong, warning them is like, one more time and you'll get it. It doesn't help anymore, because like they already know what's right or wrong, and they're just pushing for the boundary.
Yeah, multiple models say that kids need like clear, consistent boundaries. Otherwise, they have a lot of anxiety because they don't know what's expected of them. Whereas a boundary helps to create a line of like, this is the area in which we can behave, and this is what we can do inside that area. And my mom is the boss, my dad is the boss, and it gives them like a calm sense of security.
Yeah. And I've noticed that with some of people we've seen and met and are friends of ours, that like the kids don't really respect the parents. And I think that's something we forgot that was tried and true with previous generations, is that there was respect to parents and grandparents, not just your own, but also others.
Yeah, like what the parent is saying is based out of safety and love, and that like you should probably follow what they say. And I also see a big mistake of parents wanting their kid to feel like they have a lot of control and autonomy. And that's great. Like, you should definitely give your kid choices. Like, do you want to wear the red shoe or the blue shoe? Like, choices like that where they can feel like they're in control. But you don't want to just like give them a vote that's equal to your vote, right? Like, I want to go stand on this cliff. Well, I don't want you to. Well, I guess we're at a dilemma. But it's like, no, the child's vote doesn't equal yours. And of course, if you give a kid the option, they will just eat ice cream and watch TV all day. But we all know that's not safe.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and our brains are not developed until they're whatever, 24, 25. But a lot of society, probably even later. But for a lot of societies, we've decided that until you're 18, you're not capable of making decisions such as voting or things like that, that we as a society deem, that you're ready for. So why would you be at 4 years old ready to make a decision if something is
I think that's where the
not.
gentle parenting becomes like a negative thing for kids. I also think that me as a parent anyways, I was like, I don't want to do this strict routine. I don't want to be super predictable. I want to like have a fun jazzy day every day. I want to just ad lib through the day and not do the same thing. But I've noticed that Montessori really like drills it in that you need to do routines and consistency. And we have noticed with our children, they behave so much better when they have like something that they can predict and a routine that they follow. Even like bedtimes. Bedtimes can get really crazy if you don't have a routine.
Yes.
If they don't know, if there's not like a dinner, bath, stories, bed.
Yeah, and this doesn't say that every parent should parent the same way or that our way to parenting is the right way. Not at all. It's more like figure out your way, but know that you're the boss at that age. The parents are.
Yeah, and that it's okay to be a little strict.
Yes.
It's actually preferable. So then you can be loosey-goosey later.
Yes. So let's get from 6 to 12, which is probably before puberty starts at like slowly 9, 10, 11 or whatever. But like there's the true child age where they're like a curious learner and they're aware. And you can also reason with them to a point, right? Versus a toddler, it's not, reasoning doesn't always help. You got to remove them from the situation.
That's such a good point. Like, you can just give rules when they're a toddler. You don't need to give reasoning because they can't explain it. But in this stage, you definitely give more of the reasoning behind the rule.
Yeah. Otherwise, they need more context, maybe.
Yeah, they're like, why?
So gardening is the idea of like weeding. Like you don't address everything in the garden, or then everything is out, but like you spot specific bad habits that are coming and you address those, and then you let everything else grow. And it might not be the garden that you wanted, but you're taking those few select things off that you deem as weeds.
Well, I think you can also control the garden in a way by picking what input you put into it, you know, the soil, the fertilizer, the water. Like, you're putting all these good things into it and then being confident that it'll grow, right? Leaving it alone and letting it grow and flourish.
Yes. Okay, last but not least is guiding, which is exactly what it sounds like. You're guiding. You're not giving instructions or orders, but you're listening and maybe asking questions. So instead of actually telling what the kid to do, is you're just there as a sounding board and then asking questions or providing alternative perspectives instead of actually telling them what they have to do.
Yeah, you're just there as a sounding board, someone that they can trust and come to. It's mostly like listening, like Dr. Ahmed has a lot on, like, just listen to what your kid is saying. Like, don't say anything back. Maybe say, what, really? You think that? What makes you think that? No advice, no orders, just a comrade.
Yes. And I see some parents that have like few-year-old children do this. And I don't think the kid is just ready for it. They just want yes, no, and or hug and like physical security and safety.
Yeah.
But
especially a boy. I see moms get down on eye level. How did that make you feel? And stare at the little boy's eyes. Boys don't like that.
No.
Right? Especially little boys. They're just like, get out of my face.
No, unless it's a poop or fart joke, there's no eye contact made. So in this case, you do it though. Like, you want to be there not to give advice, not to govern, not to even garden, but just to listen and reflect, say back what they said. It's almost like a marriage, I guess, in the sense that let them do what they want to do, and then you're just there when support is needed. Obviously, if they ask you a question, then you respond, and you're like, because of your invitation to do that. And this is why the whole upside down thing is so crazy, is at this point, there's a lot of like telling what they should study or where should they work or what hobbies they should have or what they should do. And there's a lot of strictness if they don't behave. And instead, opposite should be true, is they should have been strict from 0 to 6 when they are innocent children, and you obviously feel bad about disciplining them, but that's when they need it. And now in teenage, they need somebody to talk to.
Yeah, and I feel like so many parents have frustration in this stage, and I did too with my parents, of like them trying to solve the problems for me or not letting me like live to my consequences, you know, like face them, like within limits if you're still staying safe, but allowing your kid to like, well, if you're not going to go to school, I'm not going to bug you about going to school. You're going to get truant, and then your grades are going to fail, you know, and then you maybe won't get into college, but like allowing that consequence to maybe happen. So you're not the one like constantly telling them what to do, because then they go out into the real world and what you've been forcing them to do, you're not still going to be there. So it's not going to be helpful. And instead they're just going to like flounder.
Yeah, and as an entrepreneur in CEO coaching session one time, was asked this question of like, if you force your kid to do something and because of that they don't invite you to their wedding because they resent you, like how would you feel? And I think that's a good thing to consider here, is like you also have consequences, especially if in this phase you push them really, really hard. And
they might not talk to you anymore.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of parents say they want to be their child's best friend. And I think that's kind of possible if you did the previous things first. It's almost like a prize at the end that you're best buds at the very end. But like, you can't start with that.
You can't be their best bud when they're 0, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
You're their mom or you're their dad.
But this should be the easiest phase if you've done the 2 others, because you've like already done the groundwork. And as you probably remember how it is to be a teenager yourself. So treat them like how you would have been wanted to be treated as a teenager.
Yeah, it says treat them like a mentor, not a manager.
Yes. That's it. We could be wrong. Leave a comment if you think we're
Yeah,
wrong.
sounds right. We don't know. Stage 1 already,
Yes.
we know works, but let us know about garden and guide.
Yes. But for me, it's just upside down. And I at least think that more parents should think about maybe doing it the other way
Yeah.
instead of being loosey-goosey in early and then likely very strict in teenage when they're, a-holes. So
Yeah, toddlers can be a-holes too, though.
yes, they can. But thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. If you have other topics in mind, leave a comment too. We'd love to hear it. And thank you to Four Sigmatic for sponsoring this episode. And if you're interested in trying the original mushroom coffee or other wellness products Four Sigmatic provides, there's a link below that gives you your first product for free. Just pay shipping and handling or a discount on any order you're interested in. But Four Sigmatic provides natural tools for busy parents and others, professionals, for focus, calm, immunity, gut health, so on and so forth. So thanks to Four Sigmatic. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.